The FDA is reportedly set to approve Pfizer's 2-dose coronavirus vaccine today, expediting an already speedy process with the original approval date anticipated to be on Labor Day. The approval is expected, quote, to pave the way for a series of vaccination requirements by public and private organizations who are awaiting final regulatory action before putting mandates in effect. The FDA approval comes as Israeli Health Ministry findings showed a third booster shot of the Pfizer vaccine provides significant protection from serious cases of COVID. So pretty interesting. So they are speeding this up beyond what was already going to be sped up.
Yeah, I think it's a significant breakthrough. I know a lot of the vaccine hesitant folks around the country were rightly concerned because it was not fully authorized by the FDA. So I'm hoping that this results in a significant uptick in people getting vaccinated who were waiting for this, final review and approval. Ryan?
It would have been quite something if they rejected it, right? I mean, so I think that might inhibit the amount of effect that this has for people who are already skeptical of it, because they'll think, well, it's not like they're going to give it to 100 million people and then look through their data and say, you know what? Actually, this is no good. We're going to reject it. Now, they very well might have done that if they looked at their data and the scientists were like, actually, this is a bad vaccine. We cannot approve this. But people, I don't think would have believed that. But this is the thing that a lot of organizations were waiting for in order to start pushing forward with requirements, because it is much harder to say, you must take this experimental vaccine that is approved on an emergency use basis in order to do X. It's easier to say that you have to take it's FDA approved medication. Now, this is the only one that is FDA approved at this point. Johnson & Johnson and Moderna don't have theirs yet. This also raises the question of when children under 12 are going to start to get access to it.
This also raises a question of vaccines that are a little bit more using traditional kind of biology like Novavax, and whether or not they would be getting emergency use authorization. Usually you can't get emergency use unless there are no alternatives that are fully approved. So my concern on this is, for one, I have huge concerns on mandates. I absolutely don't think those should be happening at all. I don't think they're warranted or justified. But my other real hesitation on this is all of these other new vaccines that would be second generation and potentially better vaccines. As we know, usually first generation stuff isn't the best. Usually it takes a few tries, that they might be sidelined because Pfizer's now is fully approved.
Well, and I do think it's simply a matter of fact that we're going to end up seeing more mandates as a result of getting FDA authorization. You'll recall with whether it was polio or tuberculosis, but schools started mandating them once they were fully approved. Like, we could be in a position where major corporations look at mandating them. Obviously, the U.S. military came out that they were going to be requiring vaccinations. So I do think we should expect a coming wave of mandates following FDA approval.
And we continue to see a rapid increase in cases across the country as the Biden administration struggles to contain the Delta variant. Critics argue the White House has placed too much responsibility on individuals to control the pandemic instead of putting in place safety restrictions despite major pushback. The Delta variant is extremely contagious. And when the vaccine's effectiveness is waning, it's able to break through. What more do you think, Kim, the Biden administration could be doing at this point?
I think they need to be for one, I don't know why either administration hasn't been mass producing N95 masks for everybody and distributing them out. So I'm not sure why they're not doing that, but otherwise, we're seeing the Delta variant. Now we've got the Lambda variant on its way, and we have another variant that they've spotted that also seems to evade vaccines. And, I just don't know what anyone realistically can do except to tell people, take personal responsibility, protect yourself. And here's an N95 mask, and make sure you have ample ventilation. I mean, I'm not really certain, but I do know people want to see mandates. Alyssa, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, though, Kim, is I think if we sent around N95 masks to the entire country, most people won't wear them. Most people are rejecting mask mandates. There's the ongoing case in Florida where Governor DeSantis is trying to stop mandates for mask requirements in schools. So there's still huge public sentiment on the side of we want no mandates, whether it's on the vaccine, on masks, and certainly on lockdowns. I think that the best thing, I mean, far be it for me to give advice to the Biden administration, but would be for them to just continue public education efforts. So to go out with, people who are not seen as partisan to say, here's what we know about the vaccine and its efficacy. Here's what we know about the efficacy of masking. Here's what we know about keeping social distance in place, and let people make the best decisions for themselves. We've all lived with this for a year and a half now. We've got to trust individuals to make the right decisions. But Donald Trump shared some thoughts on the vaccine in his rally in Alabama this past weekend. Let's take a quick listen.
And you know what? I believe totally in your freedoms. I do. You got to do what you have to do. But I recommend take the vaccines. I did it. It's good. Take the vaccines. But no, that's okay. That's all right. You got your freedoms. But I happen to take the vaccine. If it doesn't work, you'll be the first to know, okay? I'll call up Alabama. I'll say, hey, you know what? But it is working. But you do have your freedoms. You have to maintain that. You have to maintain that. And you got to get your kids back to school.
It's interesting to wonder what would have happened if Trump had won re-election, vis-a-vis vaccine hesitancy. You had Fauci, and other Democrats saying there's no way we're going to get a vaccine within a year. And I wonder if and we did end up getting a vaccine, within a year. And then I wonder if you'd have Democrats who'd be saying, Trump pushed this through the process. I don't trust it. And you'd have Republicans saying, you know what, Trump, this is the Trump vaccine. Stick it right into my veins. And we'd be in a completely reverse situation.
And I will point out, Kamala Harris in the vice presidential debate said, I'm not getting that vaccine. I'm going to see if Dr. Fauci approves it. So she alluded to that. We are so polarized as a country. We can't even agree on the same facts or the same science. I go back to I think it was Ryan's point. You should say, do you want the Trump shot or do you want the Biden shot? And we'd be at 85% vaccinated.
Yeah, it really is unfortunate how politicized this virus has been in this country. And other countries are not experiencing that, thank goodness. And so we're getting a little bit of a better picture coming from them about effectiveness and about strategies. But most people don't read news from around the world. And it's just really, it sucks, that everybody around here, we're looking at each other and pointing the finger at one another. And it would be really interesting if we could kind of live in an alternative universe and see what would have happened had Trump won, and if that would be true. But we just really have to stop politicizing this.
We might still get to find out in 2024. The other interesting thing that this Pfizer approval brings out is that now, technically there are circumstances where children can be prescribed off-label medications. In other words, it's only approved for adults or for people 12 and over, but an individual doctor can prescribe FDA-approved drugs off-label to people who are under 12. And I guarantee you're going to start to see parents who are going to be pushing for that. But I think we have to leave it there. Tomorrow on Rising, Team Rising will be here, as well as Zed Jelani.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so that you don't miss any of our videos.
We'll see you tomorrow with more Rising. Thanks, guys.
See you then.